It is everybody and nobody.
A group with no clear focus, no leader, no guiding philosophy.
This was organised through social media. It was completely granular. All of this is very loose.
But their protests have engulfed France.
More than against Emmanuel Macron, it is against the whole system, against the politicians, against the trade unions too.
It's a belated populist movement, literally populist without leaders.
Presenting a challenge to a leader accused of being more comfortable among global elites than his own citizens. A detachment that risks becoming his blind spot. Every French president faces their share of street demonstrations, but the so-called yellow jacket protests are different.
The tech makes the protest different. They are able to get organized just with social networks. They don't need time, they don't need leader to be heard in all France, to be heard by the power.
The protests were sparked by planned rises to fuel taxes, part of President Macron's green agenda. The government's economic reforms may not be popular, but the yellow jackets have quickly taken on a broader significance.
Il est déconnecté avec nous. Ce qu'il dit, ça sert à rien. Il veut rester sur sa politique. On augmente les taxes. Pas de problème. En gros, il nous déclare la guerre. Mais là, il déclare la guerre au peuple français.
It is a people against the elites, but it is not rural against urban. But you have people in the protestation, in the movement, who live not that bad. They are not all poor people. You have people with enterprise, you have people having good jobs, but they think that the elites living in Paris cannot hear what they are saying, and that's the main problem in France.
President Macron's favour on the world stage hasn't helped his reputation at home as a president of the rich, whose style has prompted accusations of arrogance and high-handedness.
Mais après, il y a des tas de métiers, c'est aussi... Faut y aller. Honnêtement, hôtel, café, restaurant, je traverse la rue, je vous en trouve, ils veulent simplement des gens qui sont prêts à travailler.
The president's approval rating dropped to a new low this month. Quite a fall for the political upstart whose En Marche movement upturned France's political establishment on the promise of change.
There is now a kind of almost allergic reaction to this kind of attitude, and the fact is that his speeches where he sort of makes a meal of being an intellectual, he quotes poets, he quotes writers, and people think, no, you're not talking to me, mate, you're talking to this idea that you have of yourself.
President Macron this week promised to listen to what he called these protests of social alarm, but he refused to back down on his plans.
You can't be for the environment on Monday and against the fuel price rises on Tuesday. You can't decide on a carbon tax a few years ago and then denounce the cost of fuel today. May I remind you that this tax was voted in 2009, 2014, 2015, committing political figures of various persuasions to it.
With oil prices now plunging, lowering fuel costs, the question is whether the yellow jackets will fade away or become a visible political force, harnessed by the left or the right.